Welcome back, everybody, to our crypto spiritual energy update for the week 33, which is August 10th till the 16th. Aired here from transCODES in Florida. My name is Jona Bryndis, and I'm an energy healer. And yes, I have things to say about the cryptocurrency market. I know this seems a bit unrelated, but it's actually quite interesting. So right before the crypto spiritual update, I do a collective energy update for energetically sensitives and empaths. And there's quite a big group of people here that are, seeing themselves as precognitive or empathetic, and who recognize the cryptocurrency market as something that sticks out as perhaps way showing or visionary or a tool or instrument to outvibrate sort of current collective phenomena, such as the financial market, banks, credit cards, and so forth. Anyway, there's a growing number of people who would probably call themselves conscious investors. So that's grassroots type of investors, small investors like us who see a chance to be here at the beginning, at the birthing stage of something new that could revolutionize the way we handle money, the way we can create abundance, the way we can distribute assets. And so I'm reflecting from a perspective of this conscious investment. Not necessarily, I'm not a financial advisor, obviously, and these phenomenal energy coaches and remote viewers and trance coaches, as we call them, that work with me here at transCODES, that produce the crypto integrity ratings that I will share with you later. None of us is a financial advisor. All right, so this is important to understand. So when I reflect, I first reflect about the general situation and the energies at work, and then I go into publishing some of our latest integrity testings. And today I have a little surprise for you. I'm going to do a comparative study, not between tokens themselves, but between markets and financial systems, economic systems, and political systems. So this will be very, very interesting for you. And I'm probably going to catch a lot of shit for this, but let's see what comes up. And we are live, and I am starting to see you guys, so let me know where you guys are from. And please ask questions, okay? This is very important here for me, the interaction with you and with this community of conscious investors. The crypto integrity ratings that we come up with every week, they're based on you guys' suggestions. So please send us requests, ask us whom you want to be calibrated. We'll go through the categories and that later. So let's get started with the situation. We've had a bloodbath here last week, and I had to look at my own energy update from last week and say, like, ooh, I did not really pick up on this. I did, however, pick up on this situation where it could go either way. And it did go into the red. It did go into the sort of mini crash, or whatever you want to call this, where this hyped up expectation with the SEC's decision about allowing or not allowing ETFs based on cryptocurrencies, where that bursted here 2 days ago when the SEC announced that it delays the decision till the end of September. So again, nothing but a brain fart, really. And so, it's not anything that tells us about the general health of the cryptocurrency market or anything. On the contrary, the news and the corporations and the regulations and everything is really refining, and there's a wonderful positive news right now that is opening a lot of doors. So this bust cycle, I think, as Crypto Daily called it, where just something gets like really hyped up, and where people get so fixated on one FUD, on one news, okay? Fear, and uncertainty, and doubt, the meme that's behind that. And if that expectation doesn't take place, then the panic. all right? And we're actually seeing something that is also a new term here in the crypto world, rage quitting. Okay, people who've had it, all right, who cannot deal with the volatility, who cannot deal with the emotional ups and downs, all right? And let me tell you, not because I'm just a general positive and optimistic about the cryptocurrency market, but as far as the technology cycle is concerned, and the things that I have seen in my life here from my early or late teens, till today, and yes, I am that old, is that this is definitely the way it will go, guys. And for the conscious investor, if you get this ping, okay, your inner guidance is correct. You're just really, really early in the game, okay? And so it's important that you don't get caught up in the ups and downs. The collective energies for next week are actually indicating a beautiful shift. So I've turned the arrow on the crypto spiritual market watch or market sentiment watch a little towards the more greener side, even though this is not reflected in the prices yet. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see a nice recovery here throughout this week. And if you're asking me, I like this much better than it being based on this fixation on one particular decision, all right? There is much more here that we're looking at. And energetically, the chakras, the energy centers involved in the general collective here are our third, fourth, and sixth chakra. So that's actually a really, really cool combination for the conscious investor, because it brings your inner guidance in conjunction with what you feel in your heart, with what you feel is true, and also brings in sort of the willpower and the courage to follow through on that. Okay, we just need to be careful not to be pulled into greed, not to be pulled into FOMO, into the fear of missing out. So the counter energy for that, or the counter meme for that here next week, would be JOMO, the joy on missing out, and really sitting back. This is a great opportunity in my personal view to get into coins that we may not see that low ever again. All right. So everything in the midterm perspective here, towards the end of August and building in September is really positive energetically. All right. Just so you know, there's a lot of stuff going on here in the positive. The big exchanges, stock exchanges all over the world in all the countries, are starting to pick up on cryptocurrencies and integrating them now, announcing that they're going to come out here in the next months. Starbucks has announced that it will accept cryptocurrencies. Payment system, payment processes, and so forth are finally coming forward, all right? So there's a lot of really cool stuff going on. And I want to kick off the comparative study that I've prepared for you here. And by the way, this is live, so please, let me know how things are going for you, where you're watching from. This is an international audience, and we have quite a few people here also from the spiritual scene that watch this, because it gives you a different perspective on the financial markets and the cryptocurrencies. And you may have a hard time reading this right now, so I will interpret this for you, and you could just listen to the audio right now, because if you are signed up for the email list here at transCODES, you will receive this in a transcript in a written form, and you'll get this this infographic as well. So what have I put together here? I've put together these integrity ratings for not just tokens. We'll get to that here after we look at markets, but to give us a little better idea of what integrity actually means and where things are. Okay, so let's look at some of the political systems that we are with here today. And of course, you guys are all from different countries and different systems, so you find, or you have to find your own system in there. But the level of truth and integrity is 200 on the scale of consciousness developed by Dr. Hawkins. which is a scale, a logarithmic scale from 0 to 1,000 that measures the consciousness level of a person or an idea or a company or a book. It doesn't matter, a system. All right, so how high, how much energy does it actually have? And 200 is the threshold between life supporting, life embracing, and expansiveness. And above it, everything 200 is basically empowering for any type of system, or consuming an energy like that. And anything below 200 is life negating, or somehow pulling you into contractive energies, or lower or negative energies, as we would say this sort of colloquially. Right, and there's this idea, of course, that cryptocurrencies is going to solve or save the world, and that it's going to resolve all problems in the world. And I want to bust this myth here a little bit. Okay, so cryptocurrencies are still using the parts of the old paradigm. And in the crypto ratings that we have done in the past, I've used this as an adjective, to be old paradigmish. Okay, so the entire crypto ecosphere as it exists in 2018 does not yet calibrate at 200 or above. It only calibrates at 193. And this is actually a very cool point here that I'm trying to make, because when we test tokens, we will see them primarily calibrating anywhere between like 185 to just right above 200. And this is the experience that we've made now in the last 9 months testing tokens or projects or ICOs, that we barely ever get values that are much higher than 200. Okay, so the entire crypto sphere is currently only calibrating at 193. Now, this may be a little disappointing, because we are all looking for this sort of new paradigm, and everything is going to change, and it can still be, the fourth industrial revolution. It can still be really way showing for our societies, and change something, and bring in betterment and bring in enhancement, and it does. Because if you look at it in comparison with existing financial systems, existing political systems, you'll see that it actually calibrates pretty high. All right, so let's look at this here a little more precisely. We have the crypto ecosphere with 193, right above political correctness, right above United Nations, right above Wall Street, banks, and what it represents, capitalism. Okay, so in that sense, cryptocurrencies, or the ecosphere that it provides, is an improvement. All right, it definitely is an improvement too. It's the fractional fiat system, the money system as it exists here in the United States, practiced by the Federal Reserve, with only 190. Now, interestingly, and many of you will disagree with this, just based on our opinion, or based on some of the other information that we have, the Federal Reserve actually calibrates with 206, above truth. So the people in the Federal Reserve have integrous intentions, but the way this is being done, and the way the sort of the practical money system turns out, is only 190. Now, in comparison to that, the media altogether with 185. So it's, we have to be able to compare things with another. And politics itself calibrate at 180. So this is, even the Federal Reserve fiat system calibrates higher than politics, and especially the expression, the populistic expression of politics that we see worldwide right now. It does, and this is maybe a surprise to many of you, calibrate significantly higher than internet. Internet itself only calibrates at 180, and it's declining, guys. It came down from calibrating over 200 in the late 90s to 180 and it's going down. All right, this has to do with some of the misuse of these open systems, okay, through organizations, through governments, and also for advertisement and so forth. So it's greed-based. The news media, for those of you who've been wondering, and really don't want to expose themselves to news and also crypto news, crypto news and news media in general, like the sensationalist journalism that we see, especially here in the United States, but also in other countries, only calibrates at 175. Nationalism only calibrates at 175. Conspiracy theories, guys, calibrate even lower than that with 165. Remember that. Communism calibrates at 160, just to give you benchmarks here. And the fractional fiat system, the money system worldwide, calibrates even lower than that, even lower than the Federal Reserve system with 160, because don't forget, we have countries, nations, whole regions, that have dictators, that have controlled and censored financial systems, or don't allow banking altogether. And social media, and this may not be a surprise to you guys, is at the very bottom end here of what I've put together for you with 115. This is really, really low. Now, does it mean that all of the social media is that low, like say as Facebook? Not necessarily, but I hate to say it. This is also on a decline, okay? It's based on fear, it's based on narcissism, and it's based on really low intentions, social media, okay? So if you've ever wondered where to get your information from, my tip for you is to get a variety of sources, and don't use social media for research. That is definitely not a good way to determine whether something is integrous or not. And into this group also does, belong YouTube and Twitter. They calibrate a little higher than that, but overall there is a decline. Okay, so I just want to make sure that we know what we're looking at here. So with 193, the cryptocurrency ecosphere in 2008, which by the way calibrated higher 2009 and 2013, so it's also at a decline, but it's been at this 193 here for a couple of years now. The stuff that we can see as a benchmark that calibrates higher than the cryptocurrency sphere are things that are more global in their intention, such as environmentalism or the freedom of speech. And just to give you, an idea here, socialism, like the way it's being practiced in Scandinavia and some European countries, calibrates at 305. Okay, true democracy, as it is not practiced in a lot of countries, calibrates at 410. And of course, there's a lot more systems that when you get really into what does the energy of a system, of a company, of certain concepts and so forth, what does it calibrate at? There's a lot of surprises, guys. So you may think that things in the US are really bad, and this may be the case in its expression that it has right now at this minute here in 2018. But for instance, the American Constitution calibrates extremely high, above democracy. So social equality, for instance, calibrates in the 500 region. Guys, there are some things that we need to differentiate more, and this is why I wanted to bring this in here today, just so that you can get a little bit of a feel, for what we are looking at when we are looking at these projects, these companies. That is, we're not looking at opinions, we're not looking at sort of a populistic kind of expression of things, or what is you know, what people's opinions are. We're looking at their intrinsic energetic value, and this can be very surprising sometimes. Okay, very surprising. So consciousness levels typically don't, or people's consciousness levels, typically don't actually change that much unless a person makes a conscious effort to outvibrate the matrix, to outvibrate the collective. So when I reflect on collective energies, I'm reflecting on what you could say mainstream energies. Okay, so this is where sort of the majority of people on this planet are at and how it affects them. And so in the system that we are still at, you know, where populism and media and so forth can have a lot of control over people's decisions and opinions, you know, we have to look at what is coming in. This does not mean that there aren't news outlets, or that there aren't influencers, or that there aren't projects or companies, even in the United States, you know, that calibrate very high. And people who do calibrate high, or projects or companies that do calibrate high, they can outvibrate and carry a very low vibratory developments. Okay, so right now is a time where we also seeing a lot of you know, sort of revealing of truth, and this is why conspiracy theories are so popular right now. But they're populistic, guys. Okay, in the energy forecast for 2018, I predicted that this will be a year where conspiracy theories will celebrate a field day, where they're going to have a field day, because you know, a lot of these things that we've been suspecting all along, and the stuff with the Federal Reserve and all that, is coming more into the collective awareness, and that is correct. But not to rain on that parade, it still is fear-based, it still is populistic, it still is you know, based on lower vibratory energies. Okay, and so just because some of these theories are being proven correct doesn't make them more true, or doesn't make them, you know, something that we could sort of align ourselves to. Okay, so when this comes to alignment, guys, it's very important to understand that this is something that determines a person's, or a company's, or a system's way of approaching things, way of making decisions. All right, and so you know, when we do this crypto integrity rating, when we do these crypto integrity ratings here, we are not looking at their you know, how well they're going to do, and we're not doing predictions. Predictions and forecasts, you know, fortune telling only calibrates on 185. Fortune telling is not based on truth, guys. And don't get me wrong, I'm an energy healer, and I'm a psychic myself, and I work with psychics, I work with remote viewers, but we do this in a different way. We're combining things, and yes, we have psychic impressions when we do the crypto testings, but we're trying to take them out, and this is why we use techniques such as muscle testing that are aligned to a higher vibratory system altogether, which is the consciousness field of all living beings, and that calibrates at 610. Okay, just to give you a little bit of a heads up here what these differences are. So let's go into our first crypto rating here for this week. We do different categories, guys, and you know this. Let me show this real quick to you. What the ratings are on, and what what they're based on, and what we're looking for. So in general, what we're testing here is the alignment, but more specifically in regards to the crypto integrity rating, we are calibrating their energetic, or their energy based on the integrity of the token and the support for the entire system and long-term perspective. So we are not looking at returns of investment or trying to give any investment advice with it. Now, you can use this maybe for your decision-making process, but this is something that we don't recommend to do, because there is no guarantee, when we say that something, like say, has a high conscious level, that their token will perform really well. However, there is there's an integrity aspect with that, and when it comes to you wanting to only support companies or tokens, that are integrous and that reflect some of what you represent, then you can use this for your decision-making process. I do. If something doesn't resonate, if it doesn't calibrate on truth, I'm not buying those tokens, period. That's just my personal integrity, living up to my own standards. The categories that we test every week is we don't test them in every week, but we try to create a database here, and soon we're going to have comparative token ratings, where we're going to compare them with another. But the general categories that we're testing are ICOs, altcoins, which we just call tokens for simplicity's sake, exchanges, wallets, mining or investment pools, influencers, and DApps. Now, we have crossover sometimes with these decentralized apps, obviously, because some of the wallets, some of the exchanges are decentralized apps. So some of the wallets or exchanges are also tokens. So we can test them in their different functions, if you will. All right, and we have done this in the past. What we are looking at here in the testings and the ratings, just as a repeat for you before we get to the ICO that you can already see on the screen. We're looking at their energetic value, and we want to see something that calibrates at least at 193, which we now know is the overall conscious level of the cryptosphere, because that would be average, okay? But we want to see something higher. We want to see it, based on truth and integrity, which is the level of 200. And if we find a token that calibrates above 200, guys, this is very rare, but it does happen, then I would keep an eye on those, for your general research, okay? See how well they do. We will update these ratings and also go back to past ratings as we see, these tokens develop further, and then we will be able to verify some of the data, very experimental data, if I may add here, and see what the feedback is and how well this integrity rating actually works for people. And those of you who have been following us here, I've been doing the crypto spiritual energy updates for a year and a half almost now. Let me know in your commentary, how well this is working for you, those parameters and those crypto integrity ratings. That'd be interesting to see. All right, so this week's ICO that we tested, currently in private sale, and there's several stages that Empaths is going to go through here in the next 6 to 8 weeks. I think their official ICO date is somewhere in late September. Is an interesting token, I think, that is targeting the gaming market. So some of you know this about me. I'm actually pretty well, I'm ambivalent about the gaming industry. I know there's a huge industry, and I think that there's for the most part a very low consciousness level being manifested, but there's also an opportunity to raise the bar, if you will, in the future. And I have actually done a shout out last year to gaming companies who would like to produce or create games, entertaining games that add consciousness level to their games by really helping a person to develop certain skills, such as self-healing, such as consciousness development, perhaps even meditation. There's with this increasing technology, guys, there are some really cool things that can be done. And that would be sort of my dream, to be part of a project like that, to develop a game, you know, where you actually raise your conscious level, you raise your energy as you are playing it. Anyway, Mfun is not such a company, but there are like a sort of an incentive, like a reward token that allows developers of games, but also gamers, you know, to have a more equal, more fair distribution of money, of rewarding, you know, royalties and stuff like that. So this is all very centralized right now, and also just like in the music industry and the movie industry, you know, very political. And so MFUN is one of those projects that want to take the middlemen out and create sort of an equal system, also with, you know, public ratings and so forth, blockchain based. It's a really cool idea. It's a with 198, it calibrates actually really high. The token and participating in the ICO process is above average, so it's not a scam. Okay, it's pretty good actually. And the team with 190 also shows a relatively high conscious level. Most teams calibrate a little lower, they're greed based. We see this here with 192, but there's an upward trend here in this team from MFUN. So to me, it looks like a great idea. They picked a great market, and they have great people doing this. And what struck out here, or what stuck out here, is that the white paper is actually really integrous. Okay, so we're dealing with a company here that we could see in the future that could be part of, you know, this the revolutionizing gaming industry. So my thumbs up for MFUN as an ICO. Next up, guys, is a company that's been around for a while, a company that offers a privacy coin, and as I found out not too long ago, also based in Colorado. So hello, Zcash. Very interesting project. The idea of a privacy coin is, of course, not so unique. However, they've been around for a while here, and you know, the idea that decentralization and open source, you know, could work for the future is, of course, a little bit illusionary, a little bit idealistic. So there will always be systems or servers or data, so specific data that needs to have privacy, where you can't do everything public record. You know, like for instance, your health data, you can't make that a public record. So the idea of privacy coins does not necessarily come from the place of like, I don't want anybody to know what I do because I have something to hide. No, it's valid. Okay, so as a token, as a project overall investment with 196, Zcash is up there. You know, as the team with 193 is relatively high, and what is really sticking out is the technology of this project here with 201 above truth. Okay, so this is not only truth-based, it also shows that the technology is a really cool technology. And from what I've seen now here in the course of integrity testing, you know, that's sticking out. With an overall conscious level of 197, I can see that this is a great project, and their performance with 196 is above average in the future. So my thumbs up for Zcash, even though I have not personally bought any Zcash tokens, but I have been having a very close eye on them, and I like you know, the people behind it, and I like the project itself as compared to maybe some other privacy tokens that have a different alignment. So I see a good alignment. So the next token we tested, and guys, hold on to your chairs. This is a very good lesson in not being opinionated. The next token we tested was Ripple. Okay, so I know that there's a lot of Ripple haters out there, and yes, I am one of them, okay? And I'm not sure how I'm going to work with this, the results of this integrity testing here, but I may have to be a little more objective, a little more fair. So Ripple's been around for a long time, and this is the hating maybe comes from that because, you know, we've seen them as like sort of the representatives of banks and the old system. And yes, that is correct. Ripple offers a payment protocol system for banks and credit card systems and corporations, and of course, you know, all the infrastructure that is behind that. But what really stuck out, guys, look at their technology, you know, and the project itself in the white paper with 212. That's extremely high. We've only had very, very few tokens that calibrated that high, which means that based on what they're doing, it's a high expression of what they're doing, and it comes in with the right alignment. It's truth-based, guys. And even the investment, even the token itself is truth-based with 200. And even the people, okay, the team with 196 is above average. Okay, it's an integrous and safe token, and it's hard for me to say this, but I have to take my personal opinion out. Ripple looks like a good investment. Okay, even for the conscious investor, okay, because it will help to up the vibratory rate of the banking and credit card system. So yeah, this is why we love those integrity testings, guys, because they have nothing to do with our personal opinion. And this sometimes means that we have to revise it, or we can still choose to have a personal opinion about things. But, you know, it is not always based on truth, our subjective experience or our projective perception of it, for various reasons. Which, by the way, is why we do blind testing amongst the fantastic coaches here, transCODES here at transCODES. Next up is Nemesis, and Nemesis has been around for a while as well. They have what I think from a technological point of view a very interesting project. It's a protocol that is based on a proof of importance consensus, so that doesn't tell you anything, but it basically what it allows companies to do is to build their own blockchains, okay, and they provide you know, a blockchain environment that can be configured by the companies themselves. So that's actually a good idea because, you know, I come from the days of intranet, you know, and it's very similar. Okay, the token, the investment itself calibrates at 196. Okay, that's you know, just okay. The team with 192 and the technology, the project with 192, you know, that's all just okay. So with 193 overall conscious level, Nemesis, you know, actually is right on target. It calibrates right there where the ecosphere calibrates, and therefore, here now you see the complexity. It is not really visionary anymore. So it's, yes, it's a good idea. It's a good project. It's an, you know, almost integrous. Okay, but it's not really that revolutionary, okay, and not new paradigmish, if that makes sense. So it's okay, all right, but it's not maybe what we had hoped to see with Nemesis. That's just, you know, speaking for myself, you know, sort of being all optimistic about, you know, all these cool companies that I see that coming forward with really solid ideas and with solid, you know, with a solid team. So Nemesis is such a team, such a company. Okay, so don't get me wrong when I say just okay. I don't mean bad. I mean it is okay and solid, but you know, just you know, it may end up, you know, in the top 25 for the next 5 years, you know, but not really sticking out as a revolutionary. Now, the next one, the next token that we tested is one chain. And one chain, not one chain like with ONE, but with WAN. You know, there's a little bit confusing with all these different chains and blockchain infrastructures and so forth. So it made headlines the end of last year and the beginning of the year because they have a really cool new technology that allows sort of this cross network, cross blockchain sharding, if I'm correct with this, and it allows, you know, it's very similar, you know, to the market that Nemesis targets, and also the next contestant that we're going to look at, Polymath. It provides an infrastructure for finance, for fintech, okay? And with 190, you know, it's an okay token. It's just an okay token. That actually surprised me, because you know, I'm a tech lover, so I'm always like really fired up when something new comes out that you know, innovates the system. And with 195, OneChain offers that. And the team, I want to point this out, is really motivated. That's a really cool team, okay? But at this point, it may not perform that well. It looks like with 190, it's only going to perform below average. However, we had a lot of overlay here with OneChain. Data overlay, and this happens because we allow psychic impressions, we do remote viewing, and we do energy code testing, and there we can see more than just the actual kinesiological calibration, okay? And this is possible that there is something in the making, in the hidden down the road, that could bump up OneChain big time, okay? So this will be one of those tokens that we're going to have to retest maybe in a year to see what is coming up there. There's overlay, okay? And data overlay does not mean like there's you know, news that is being announced. No, it's deeper than that. It doesn't exist yet, okay? And it is not clear yet if this timeline is manifesting, okay? So it's not that people, you know, at the company may not even know this, or the, you know, even the CEO may not even know this, him or herself. Okay, the last token that we tested here for this week is Polymath, and only because it kind of fits into this whole group of fintech companies that we've been testing here. Polymath is a security token platform, okay? So it allows a sort of something that we all are waiting for, namely, you know, moving, you know, these trillions of dollars from, you know, this banking system into the blockchain, into the cryptocurrency system. And it provides a platform here for companies and for payment systems. It has a very high value with 203 on the token, which means the token itself will do well. However, though, and this is a bit concerning, the team did not calibrate that high. With 187, there's a lot of fear and there's a lot of anger, and we see issues there with the team, especially in the near future. We had data overlay there as well as the technology itself. It calibrates at 192. Now, this overlays seem to indicate a lower value. So we have an interesting problem here with Polymath. It calibrates at 194 overall, which is right there on target, you know, crypto sphere, you know, it will do okay. The token itself will do better than its technology. Okay, and we have somewhat of hidden energies that are coming in that may indicate that there's a restructuring or a whole sort of reset kind of has to take place. So I'm very, very curious. So again here, what this means is that while the token can do really well as an investment. The underlying technology and the underlying company, though, may not do that well, which then, of course, can influence their long-term success. As an exchange this week, we picked Cryptos. Personally, I've been a user of Cryptos ever since they came out, like like a week in or something. And this is Cryptos is something that we could have tested as an exchange or a wallet, because it offers both. And I want to point out here that it functions, has some great functions like atomic swap and so forth. So it functions as an exchange that's similar to Coinbase, but it has an actual real trading platform here. It's a Japan-based exchange, and I am actually not surprised when I was looking at these calibrations here. The exchange itself and the safety calibrates at 200. That's integrous, that's truth-based, and for an exchange it usually also means that it's safe. Okay, good technology. The people in the organization were 195, also calibrate above average. I'm not surprised to see this. So the mother company here, Q9, I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, is what drives this. So you'll see this a lot when you work with Cryptos, is an integrous company, guys, with 198. That's pretty good, and it's a cool team, very motivated, a bit idealistic, like we all are, but they try to create a user interface that is easy to use. That is, they care, they want it to work, and they want people to like it and to use it. And one of the things that is really cool with Cryptos is that it actually allows you to participate in ICOs, and it just so happens to be that Empaths, the ICO that we tested this week, is part of their network. So you can literally participate in the Empaths ICO if you have a Cryptos account. The last crypto integrity rating that we did here this week is on an influencer, and some of you may hate him, some of you may love him, and many of you will not even know who this is. Oh, and I forgot to say that almost all of the crypto ratings were based on your recommendations, on your suggestions. Okay, so once more here, we are testing companies, tokens, ICOs, and people based on what you want us to test. And so for this week, we've tested Richard Hart, an author, a serial entrepreneur, as he calls himself, a billionaire, and some called him the Bitcoin Buddha. Okay, so he's been around for a while, has been an early proponent of Bitcoin and of the cryptocurrency sphere, frequently gets into like little struggles, little quarrels with Roger Ver, who's called the crypto Jesus or the Bitcoin Jesus. So you can see that there's a lot of populism around this, he's very controversial. But with a conscious level of 200, regardless of what you guys think about Richard Hart, and maybe using a different name than his real name, which is very common in showbiz and populism and so forth. He is, his conscious level is integrous. It's not visionary. It's not like super duper, genius. It's integrous. Okay, and if you're asking me, a person who's integrous and made it, was able to make it to billionaire status with that integrity level is something that I listen to, that I look up to, not like as in admiration or anything, but there's a lot of successful and rich people out here, but not all of them are integrous. In fact, the minority is, and so. This is something that if you consider reading things or watching YouTube videos from certain influencers that I want you to keep in mind. Okay, so a person's integrity does not mean that the person is always right, but it means that they're truth-based, that they really have the intention, okay, to spread, you know, like truth-based information. Okay, and this concludes my weekly crypto spiritual excursus. If you want to know more, you can go to transcodes.com. I do abundance coaching. I do testing of companies, of contracts with Crypto Staffer. We have a company that actually does find you know, employees based on vibrational match, or can help you as a young developer or you know, influencer who's looking for a job in the crypto sphere, to find a company that matches, you know, your integrity level or what you are looking for. We also, of course, do energy healing and energy training, and if you want to learn how to do these calibrations and how to translate that, then please contact me on my email, Jona@transcodes.com. I'd be more than happy to show you what kind of training courses and so forth we have for this. Thank you guys for your time. I'm wishing you a wonderful week. It's the week of rocking up, because bottom is behind us. See you next week. Bye-bye.